The Indiana Pacers just did that. Literally stole game one with their classic we're down 10 and gonna win the game anyway nonsense. Let's talk all about it. New episode of Just Basketball Show. Game one NBA Finals reaction. Let's go.
Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan. LeBron James with no regard for human life.
What is up, everyone? It's Chris Manning. It's Wes Goldberg. It's the Just Basketball Show here with you after game one of the NBA Finals. The Indiana Pacers on a Tyrese HALIBURTON game winner to give them their first lead of the game. Went into Oklahoma City, the most dominant team in the playoffs, in a game they frankly were not in for most of this game, and won game one of the NBA Finals. An amazing game one, an amazing start to the series, an amazing moment for the damn most resilient team in basketball. We're here twice a week covering all things hoops, and Wes, we're powered by BetMGM as always.
That's right. And if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use the code JustBasketball and you'll get deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You'll receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if that bet loses. Just make sure you use the bonus code JustBasketball when you sign up. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or older to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Sorry I screwed that up. My brain is scrambled right now.
Well, I feel like everyone watching that game that isn't a Pacers fan right now, that is like neutral to like a Thunder fan, is feeling the same way the Thunder crowd, I think, is probably feeling in the arena right now, which is disbelief. They are stunned. Most of them are not then firing up the mics and trying to make sense of that in real time, which I think is probably the more like human way to maybe do this. But I cannot believe that the Pacers did this. So let's pull the curtain back. Maybe the best way I think for us to explain this. We had talked about doing overreactions to game one for this series and just being like, okay, what are things that happen that we can overreact to and extrapolate on and just hot take our way through a game one of an NBA Finals. This game was if you're going to open up the definition of a basketball game that did not allow for that type of content and that type of takeaway from us, it was this game. The Thunder lead early. They're in control. They're doing the Thunder thing of just dominating on defense, controlling the pace. Like Shea is doing Shea stuff. They're doing everything exactly. The most interesting thing that they did that was maybe unexpected was starting Kaysen Wallace instead of Isaiah Hartenstein. They lead this entire game. It gets close late. Pacers have a 6-0 run at one point, which is the longest run of the game for them. Overall, it's like a 12-2 run at some point. But the Thunder are still holding court, holding on. Tyrese HALIBURTON with just a few seconds to go. They don't call a timeout. Hits the go-ahead shot to put them up for the first time all game. I cannot think of any other team, frankly, Western League, that I think might have been able to pull this off. Maybe you just say LeBron and Luka because of the processing. But this Pacers team and HALIBURTON, this is what they've done this entire playoffs. They pull victory in situations and environments you don't expect them to, and it flips what you think is going to happen on its head. And that's, to me, what we saw here. It flipped the logical flow of this game was a 12-point Thunder win. Mm-hmm. The Pacers instead won the game and are up 1-0 and got the needed road win they need. Unbelievable.
The Pacers have not lost game one on the road this entire postseason. This felt eerily similar to game one at Madison Square Garden, didn't it? Where the home crowd is basically celebrating the entire game. From the moment the game starts to about halfway through the fourth quarter, that the home crowd is just celebrating the entire game. We're going to go up 1-0 on this Pacers team. We're doing the thing. We've got it. We got it, people. We're going. And then the Pacers happen. And as my good friend Tony East likes to say on Locked On Pacers, you don't beat the Pacers. They just run out of time. And they did not run out of time. They almost ran out of time, but they did not run out of time in this one. The game chart on NBA.com that tracks the lead looks ridiculous. There's two teams in this series. There's a blue team and there's a yellow team. And according to that lead tracker, there is only a blue team. There is never any yellow. You can't find any yellow because, to your point, Chris, HALIBURTON, when he makes that mid-range jumper with 0.3 seconds left, that's Indiana's first lead of the entire game. They were down by as many as 15 points in the fourth quarter. I want to go back a little bit before Halliburton makes the jumper.
Just repeat that again. Down 15 in the fourth quarter in a game they won against the Oklahoma City Thunder.
It's insane.
That's
I don't
crazy.
understand what happened, but I want to go back a couple plays.
Okay.
I want to go a few minutes, and there's two plays that I think are worth highlighting here where I actually thought, because of how they turned out, that the Thunder were going to hold on and win. So you've got that sequence where Halliburton gets that wide open three to Miles Turner. It was after Nembhard and Nesmith made back-to-back threes. They cut the lead to 4, I think, at that point. And then Halliburton finds Turner for a three-pointer. Turner misses it. That would have cut it to 1. He misses that three-pointer. SGA gets the ball back, makes a really tough layup on the other end to extend the lead back to 4. All right, I was like, okay, there's still some time left at that point. Then with about a minute, Lou Dort has that huge block on Aaron Nesmith.
Yep.
And that would have cut it to 1. And instead, the Thunder bring it back the other way. SGA drives, scores again on another layup to extend the lead. Again, he goes to the free throw line. That could have cut it to 1 again at that point. So 2 chances Indiana had to cut it to 1. And in both chances, they failed to make the shot. And then SGA, the MVP, scored on the other end to extend the lead. And it just felt like the Thunder, even after blowing the 15-point lead and it going down to single digits and single possessions and whatever, it just felt like the Thunder kept making the plays. And I thought the Thunder were going to win this game until they didn't.
I'm honestly not sure.
What did you think was going to happen on that inbound with 0.3 seconds left?
I thought they were going to win. I honestly am not sure like what I watched is real. Like I feel like I just watched like an episode of The Rehearsal. Like I feel like I just watched The Miracle on the Mojave is what I feel like I just watched. Like I cannot like the Dort block. They don't get they challenge the call on Cason Wallace when Siakam falls out of bounds. They don't get the call on that, which I think they had a case. I think considering it's not called,
tough to reverse
moment,
it in that
it's
spot.
tough to reverse when it's not called. Whichever way that got called for, I think is the way that was going to work out. So I don't like begrudge the refs in one way there. There's like literally nothing in this game that I can really like look at and be like, yeah, like the Pacers like probably were the better team on that given night, which is just how sports can work sometimes. I just kind of assumed like Chet's going to poke this in. SGA might get a foul call. Like someone's going to do something preposterous here because that's just kind of like where I feel like this game is headed. It's going to like every time we hit a point where it felt like the Pacers were responding or meeting the Thunder at a level or exceeding them for a little moment, the Thunder just like exceeded them, like pulled the head from the pack a little bit. It's like They just were like, all right, you had your little fun. We're going to reassert ourselves now and figure it out. And shout out Tony East, who's one of the best to cover the Pacers. People should be listening to Locked On Pacers and, you and him on Locked On NBA. Like, they take it from you when you have no other. They punch you and are tough enough to hang in it and then are able to punch you in the face when you cannot then get back up off the canvas. Like they do the thing where like they are there the whole time, even if they're not playing great, and then it's like they're ready to go. And Halliburton in particular is maybe the epitome of this in this game because he wasn't that good in this game. Like this was a Nembhard McConnell like guard game in a Siakam game more than it was Halliburton game. Halliburton's 2 of 7 from 3, had 6 assists, he had 14 and 6 and 10, was getting put in actions repeatedly. Like this was a pretty like ho-hum game by his one. If you're talking about the stars, Shea had 38 and vastly outplayed him for this whole game. And yet it's Halliburton who gets to the last laugh and hits the game-winning shot.
There's so many things to get to in this game, but can I just ask you a question?
Yeah, please.
How many points without looking do you think Pascal Siakam had in the fourth quarter?
I've like blacked out, I feel like 4 times in the last like 10 minutes. Did he have like 8, 10?
He had 3. But he had
won.
maybe 2 of the biggest. So he had that free throw in the lane violation, which is sneaky important.
Sneaky important. Cannot wait tomorrow, Wes. Instead of being like a normal adult and like reading like the paper in the morning, I can't wait to fire up like Thunder Reddit and like get some takes on that.
So it was 3 minutes to go. Siakam misses the second free throw. They call the lane violation on OKC. He makes it. It goes from, instead of it being 106 to 98, it's 106 to 99. That ended up being important. So he's got that, and then he has probably the biggest shot of the fourth quarter outside of the Halliburton go-ahead mid-range jumper.
Yeah.
Crashes from the corner. The Pacers put up a shot. He's in the left corner. He crashes along the baseline, grabs the ball in between 2 or 3 different Thunder players, and then puts it back to cut the lead to 1, which is right before it goes out on him, and then OKC gets the ball with 22 seconds left. So that was he had some of the biggest buckets in that fourth quarter. It did feel like he had so much more. Nembhard had 17 in the fourth quarter. Halliburton had 17 in the fourth quarter. Those guys were awesome down the stretch. I'm sorry, I made that up. They didn't have 17. They had 8. They were plus 16 each.
Yeah, but that you could have told me Halliburton had 17.
Right.
I'd be like, yeah, that's right.
Nembhard had 8.
Yeah.
And he was so big for them in the second half, but especially in that fourth quarter, where they just started giving him the ball. Oklahoma City was throwing so much stuff at Halliburton that they said, you know what, we're going to take Halliburton off the ball, and we're going to have Nembhard just run 2-man game with Miles Turner, and we're just going to run simple pick and roll. And Nembhard did such a good job of getting downhill and just making things really simple. And he was like, all right, I'm going to get downhill. I'm going to put pressure on the basket, and then we're going to kick out to Halliburton, and then Halliburton can do his things off of a secondary action where he's not much attention. Or I'm just going to score, which he did a bunch of times, or I'm just going to throw it to Turner, and he's going to score. And he did that a bunch of times. He had 8 points in the fourth quarter. So awesome game from Nembhard.
Yeah.
What a ballsy call by Rick Carlisle to make that adjustment. We're going to take the ball out of Tyrese Halliburton's hands.
Yeah.
Late in the game, to just another masterclass by Carlisle, pushing all the right buttons, pulling all the right levers. I didn't see that one coming, and it was the exact right thing to do.
I want to flag another thing that I think he made the exact right call on, and I hope he gets asked about this, because I agree with you. This was like a Carlisle masterclass in a lot of ways. Not calling a timeout to let Tyrese Halliburton just go is one of the best decisions he could have made. There's 2 reasons I think that's the case. Number one, he didn't you could have easily tried to design something really pretty and cute, and it got absolutely snuffed out by the Thunder defense. The Thunder defense, its superpower is it slows you down, it grinds you out, and it gets
Don't
the
let
exact
them get set.
Yeah, they get set. There's times in this game where Chet is switched on to Halliburton. Halliburton's having a lot of trouble. You try to do that late game situation when you got one chance at it, you're probably screwed. You're probably not getting the shot you want. By putting them, it's not that that shot was easy, but it's I almost think you're getting you're without trying to design something or running something in your back pocket that you've maybe been saving or just want to go to. I think got a better look and just trusting Halliburton to figure that out. Number 2, I think it shows how much Carlisle knows this team and what this team is built on. There are certain teams where I think that this obviously could have blown up in your face just because the poise is not there with this group, right? But Carlisle, I think seeing how they've had this playoff run, seeing what they've done, it's you guys have come all the way back. We have this timeout if we need it, but I know you're going to handle this well. It's there's just a trust in the 5 guys on the floor to go figure this out, paired with the logic of, okay, don't let the defense set. But it's even if I think other teams that could have been in the spot, the Knicks, any other team in the East, I think, to some degree, could have been the right call here, even against a really good defense, is to just take a second and breathe and and look for something clean. The Pacers and Carlisle are just no, we're going for, I can make all the ballsy calls with Nembhard with this. I mean, giving Obi Toppin 25 minutes, another ballsy call, and he just rode him and trusted him. And
really rough first stint for Toppin. 3 turnovers in his first stint, and then he was just awesome. He was lights out after that.
They are not in this game late and in position to punch back in the fourth quarter, if not for Obi Toppin having those bad first minutes and Carlos Sigmund. This is why, Wes. We're in this. This is not the point of the show, and I will not take us off the path too far. I have been thinking about this since Tibbs got fired the other day, that I almost think we're to quote Shannon Sharp, maybe not the best idea right now, but we're losing recipes with how coaches are just being cycled in and out in this player empowerment league. I almost would rather swerve and give me the guy who's been around this game for 20 years in various coaching roles who's like won a finals before at this point. Not every case. Like I wouldn't really want like Doc Rivers, but I kind of just want the guy who's like been around a lot, I think, to understand how to navigate this more, because to some degree we can't calculate this. Carlisle being the proven guy that has been there, done that, versus Dagnall, who is his first time in this spot. There's some value added to the Pacers here that I think helped them win this game. I can't calculate it, but it's part of the equation here, I think.
Yeah, it was interesting that the Thunder came out with a starting lineup change right away. I thought that was a little curious, and I can't say that I dug it. I actually thought that the Pacers got a couple of advantages in those first few minutes. They got Siakam on a small within the first couple of minutes, which was something that we talked about going into this. That was something that we bookmarked, like how often are they going to try to do that? And they got Toppin on a small later on. And so, it's like obviously every point matters. The Pacers won by 1, and to just kind of give that stuff up. And I thought Hartenstein was awesome in this game too. I don't know. It was a little interesting, but was it Dagnall getting a little too cute? I don't know. I don't think it ultimately mattered that much, but I did find it curious that the team that was the overwhelming favorite was the team making a pre-series adjustment to the starting lineup.
Yeah, I watched Hartenstein set one of the best screens I've seen anyone set the entire playoffs when he comes in this game to get a clean look for one of his teammates. And then I look at the fact that overall from the field on a night where they were pretty good from 3, 36%, the Thunder are under 40% from the field, so didn't shoot particularly well on twos. If you told me you had Hartenstein screen setting and that created a little bit better like infrastructure for your non-threes, I'd believe that's a thing that doesn't matter.
I want to put a pin in the Thunder part of this conversation, though, because I want to keep talking about the Pacers. You said something I'm going to push back on a little bit. You said that the Pacers stole the game. And you're probably right.
Stole is like the lazy sports writer term of they won the game late. Like we are not good.
Okay. Let's put it. They won the game late. Okay, let's put that into context a little bit more too.
You used ChatGPT the other day. While you're talking, I'm gonna go to ChatGPT and find a different way.
What did I do with ChatGPT?
You did, like, you made a list with ChatGPT.
Oh, that's right. I did do that.
Okay, I didn't listen. That's good.
Bold predictions.
Yeah, bold predictions. But I'm gonna find different ways to say stole a game. That's what I'm gonna see what ChatGPT.
Okay, I don't even know that this counts. I don't even know this counts as like kind of got away with it late. Now, obviously, they did, but the Pacers, I thought they played pretty poorly in the first half, and the fact that they were only down whatever it was, 12 at halftime, was a borderline miracle for them.
Yeah,
it speaks to just how freaking good this team is at making shots. And before I get into that a little bit more, the Pacers outscored. I want to share some stats.
Please.
The Pacers outscored the Thunder 66-53 in the second half. They outplayed the Thunder in the second half. They had just 5 second half turnovers after 20 turnovers in the first half. They cleaned it up. And then what was that battleground we kept talking about and everybody kept talking about going into this series? The Thunder are the better team, but they give up a ton of corner threes. And the Pacers are the best team in the playoffs at making corner threes. They were shooting 47% from the corners going into the series. What were they in game 1 from the corners? 10 of 16 on corner threes. They were the better team in the second half.
Yeah.
They were just in such a hole. And the Thunder are just so freaking good, by the way. Like, the Thunder are still awesome. I don't think they played a poor second half necessarily, but the Pacers are just incredible shot makers. They are an incredible shot making team. True shooting percentage, efficient field goal percentage, like all the percentages, they're the best at it. And I'm going to share some percentages with you here now. Aaron Nesmith, 43% from 3. Pascal Siakam, 47% overall, 50% from 3. Miles Turner, 50% shooting overall, 40% from 3. Nembhard, not as good. Tyrese Halliburton, 46% overall. Obi Toppin, 67% overall. Ben Shepherd, 50% overall. TJ McConnell, 67% overall, including 100% on threes. It was only one of them, but whatever. Listen to those percentages.
Can I give you
Everybody shoots at a high clip.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a contextual stat to this, Wes, that I think emphasizes your point in the sense that shot making is the Pacers' superpower and allows them to win this game. So cleaning the glass. If people like don't subscribe or don't look at their box scores, I love one of the things I love about their box scores. They have the 4 factors. So like free throw rate, offensive rebound rate, effective field goal percentage, points per possession at the top. Those 5 things. Turnover percentage in this game. The Pacers had to turn the ball over on 24.8% of their possessions. That is in the bottom 1 percentile.
Yeah.
In this metric.
That's 1 out of every 4 possessions they turn it over.
Yes. It's crazy. By comparison, the Thunder turned the ball over on 6.9% of their possessions. That is very nice. That is very good. That is in the top 2% of performances. That is like nothing in the NBA. So the fact that they won the game is like only possible, I think, with that kind of shot making.
It literally is only possible. The Thunder got
There's no other way.
16 more shots.
Yeah,
That's insane. They took 98 field goal attempts. Indiana took 82, but the Pacers they shot 48% overall, and the Thunder shot 40% overall, and that's the difference. And the fact that they made 7 more 3-pointers, right? And that's going to be that's always a bellwether for the Thunder, right?
Yeah.
They don't take a ton of threes. Their opponents tend to take more of them. It's one of the equalizers, right? In today's NBA, it just is. The free throw attempt battle was pretty even. Oklahoma City, 24 free throw attempts. Indiana, 21. You'll take that every single night if you're the Pacers. And they out-rebounded. And it's easier to, rebound when you're missing, when you're making shots or when the other team is missing as many shots as Oklahoma City did. It's easy to get those defensive rebounds. But even on the offensive glass, they created 3 more offensive rebound opportunities than the Thunder did. So they figured out ways outside of the turnovers to even things out. And, there were a lot of those turnovers. They're not excusable, right? But a lot of them were unforced errors, travels. How many illegal screens did they get called for? Like 3?
It's a lot. It's a lot of turnovers that I think on like maybe like not game 1 of a series. Game 1 of the series to me, Wes. Like I know the Pacers have won all these ones on the road this series, and that's they've been really poised more often than not. But I think even this team, like when you're game 1 on the road, and particularly your first NBA Finals, I think every team has just like you're a little more on edge. You're going to be like a little like some of your rough edges are like not smoothed out as much, and that's going to cause a couple turnovers here or there. Like that's to me the kind of turnovers a lot of these felt like. It's illegal screens. It's just like losing the ball when you shouldn't. It's just like little stuff that wasn't like there were very few situations where the Thunder always really good positionally defensively. It did not feel to me like a lot of turnovers where the Thunder just wreck them defensively and then force the turnover. It's like there's a mix there that you'd have to go back and I think sort out turnover by turnover, but it's not like it wasn't like full on Thunder put you in the vice grip and choke the turnovers out of you.
Exactly. And again, you don't want those unforced errors, but it does contextualize things, right? That they had of the 25 turnovers only, and I say only because of the standard that the Thunder have set, only 14 of them were Thunder steals. But the Pacers also did an awesome job of getting back in transition. They allowed only 11 points off of turnovers. That's remarkable, considering that that the Thunder got 14 steals in this game, and that Indiana turned it over 25 times. And the good thing about those illegal screen turnovers, if there is a good thing, or those unforced error type turnovers, the travels and all those, is that the Thunder have to bring the ball out of bounds, right? There's a stoppage. And so they're not getting that advantage of avoiding their half court offense, which is bad, right? The Thunder have a bad half court offense, or not a great one at least. So, it was a weird game because the turnovers were piling up so much, and the field goal attempt, the possession battle, was so overwhelmingly in Oklahoma City's favor that it feels like the Pacers shouldn't have had any business being in this game, but they kind of won everything else. And I'm just wondering, like, you know what? We could talk about turnovers and effective field goal percentage and turnover rate and all these crazy stats. The most important thing in basketball, and it still is true, and it always has been true, do you make a bunch of your shots or do you not? And the Thunder don't, or didn't in game 1, and the Pacers do and always do. They're the best shot-making team in the league.
All right, I want to think about this game as far as like where you look ahead a little bit, Wes.
Okay, wait. Can I do one more thing then before we do that?
Please.
All right.
Because I want to what I think we need to do is almost like in real time in where our brains are at, and I almost decide like How much of this is I want to ask the question basically, and we'll get to this. Like, how much is this game like a template how Indiana like wins the series? That's where my brain is going now because
Let's do it.
That
Just one last stat though,
Yeah, please,
because
hit me.
this is also important. When I mentioned the shot making stuff for Indiana, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you said this earlier, outplayed Tyrese Halliburton, and you're not wrong.
he
But-
he was the best player, I think, belt like buzzer to buzzer, best player on the court
No
in
question.
terms of
He was awesome.
effectiveness. Yeah.
He was the best player on the court.
Yeah.
38 points, 47% shooting, got to the line, did all the things. He was awesome, had 3 steals. He was awesome. Nobody else was for Oklahoma City. Jalen Williams had his moments, but he shot 32% overall, 6 of 19. Chet Holmgren was not good as a shot maker, 2 of 9, 22%. Cason Wallace as a starter went 3 of 9. Caruso went 3 of 8. Lou Dort went 5 for 10 overall, 5 of 9 from 3-point range. And that just, yeah, it's cool. And he was awesome in that third quarter. It also just feels like Indiana is willing to live with that because you know that he's going to. Lou Dort is really good at making like 3 3-pointers in a row and then not doing it again for the rest of the game. So if you're the Pacers, I feel like that's just something that you withstand while it's happening. And that's what they did. The Thunder didn't get anybody else to make shots outside of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So to answer your thing, and maybe this is a good place to start, like, is this the Pacers' plan, or was this just a matter of just sort of have the cookie crumbled a little bit? I'm not entirely sure because it didn't feel like they were loading up on Shai, right? They were pretty happy to just let Nembhard, for the most part, it was usually Nembhard, kind of just guard him one-on-one. And Nembhard had a huge stop on Shai late in the game to force that really tough contested mid-range jumper that Shai missed right before Halliburton made the go-ahead one. So I want to give Nembhard credit on that defensive stop, but Shai took 30 shots in this game. The next closest Thunder player was 19, Jalen Williams. Do you think that's the plan? Hey, let Shai kind of get his, but make sure that nobody else beats us?
I think that's the case, and I think if you look at the some of the 3-point kind of raw frequency in this game from cleaning the glass, Indiana 44% of its shots from 3. They're playing a math game. Oklahoma City, as we kind of have talked about, I think all year, their one thing is like they're probably not going to overwhelm you from 3. Only 28% of their shots are coming from 3, and I think in a world where SGA has 38. And he had 8 free throw attempts. That's a little down from where he's been most of these playoffs. It's a little below. It's like a free throw below where he was in the regular season this past year, in the MVP year. I think if you're deciding, okay, we know he's going to get some calls, but we're going to defend him. We're still going to defend him physically. We're going to trust our guys to be smart about it for the most part, and like not get baited into dump fouls. I think they were really well coached in that way, even when they were down 10 or 12.
Yeah, only 2 fouls for Neesmith, 3 fouls for Nembhard, which is big improvements for those guys.
Yeah, huge improvements. And then you're saying, okay, we don't trust this team. If this team like overwhelms us by guys just like catching and shooting threes, like that's okay. And like SGA having 38, but the rest of the team kind of being not like active in that way. I mean, Chet was just like a nothing on offense in this game. 2 of 9, only took 1 3. JW, as you said, 6 of 19. Like Dort 5 of 10, 5 of 9. But it's like, okay, it's like great. Lou Dort took 9 threes. Congratulations. Like I think that's a process you feel okay about.
Yep.
I think you've nailed it. I think that's probably the in broad strokes. I think that's the Indiana game plan for how to defend Oklahoma City here.
And Shai had 38 points, man. He was great. He was the MVP. He played like the MVP, and it's still, look, they still only won by 1, right? There's, 5 times out of 10, maybe probably even more than that, the Thunder win this game. And we're not talking about this as a winning blueprint.
I think like 9.9 times out of 10, the Oklahoma City Thunder, we're like, the way we're talking about this game is I think we still might be leading thinking, holy crap, Indiana almost did that. Yeah. But Oklahoma City won game 1, and then we're like this. This is where my brain is at right now, Wes. I'm gonna have to rewatch this game back, or at least like the fourth quarter of this game back, because my brain right now, my heart. Let's start with the heart. My heart right now is telling me Indiana like has it. This just might be like the team of destiny. This might be the team that like knows how to like do some of this, and they're gonna like figure out some way to pull this off. Mm-hmm. My head is telling me, be logical. Look at 99% of this game, 95% of this game, somewhere in there. Oklahoma City did everything else right, was in control. On aggregate, they've been far better throughout the year. Trust that that's probably still going to win out in the series. Like, that is where my head is right now. But my mind has cracked open to the possibility, way more than it was when we previewed this series just a couple days ago, that Indiana is capable of pulling this off. Because we had this in 5. We both picked Oklahoma City in 5. This now feels like it's going to be close the whole way to me based on game 1.
Yeah, my little wager on Thunder in 5 doesn't look as great as it did at the beginning of the fourth quarter. No, I that's what I'm trying to figure out here, though. Is this the blueprint or is this a one-off? But, then again, Halliburton didn't have his best game. Is there a better Halliburton game waiting, right? Like, Thunder fans could sit here and be like, well, you're not going to get 17 points or whatever. What did Obi Toppin score? You're not going to get 17 points from Obi Toppin every night. And it's like, yeah, probably not. You're probably not only going to get 14 points from Tyrese Halliburton either. As good as a defense as Oklahoma City is, just feels like there's better games for Halliburton and Nembhard out there, right? And even Siakam. I think there's opportunities for him too. But, we're talking about a 1-point game. We're talking about stuff like a really key lane violation, a really tough miss by SGA at the end. Also, the Pacers went 6 of 10 from three-point range in the fourth quarter, 60%. Oklahoma City went 0 for 5, 0% shooting from 3 in the fourth quarter. It might just be that simple, right? That's the part I don't know. It's an open question. Is it? So I think part of this stuff worked, right? I'm not saying. So maybe this is what it is, right? What the Pacers did isn't necessarily a blueprint to win games in this series. It's a blueprint to stay in games in this series.
It's a great way of putting it.
Right? We got to take more threes. We got to try to limit the turnovers the way that they did in the second half. They definitely did. Again, just 5 turnovers in the second half for the Pacers after 20 in the first half. That second half looked really good. I think they found some things. They figured some stuff out, playing a little bit more traditionally with pick and roll between Nembhard and Turner, getting Halliburton off the ball a little bit. I think they found some lineups that worked. Both of these teams, by the way, went essentially 10 deep in a finals game, which is pretty unheard of.
Yeah, which I'm expecting. I think on the Indiana side, and then for the first, if I'm them, I'm almost thinking, okay, we shot 46% from 3. We're gonna probably be a little more normal going forward. Even Halliburton plays better. We're probably not as a team gonna do that. We might be able to do it a couple times, but running that hot from 3 feels like a little bit unlikely. I wonder if they are okay, Thomas Bryant, we can't. He's gonna get picked on.
But even on the 3-point percentage thing, they were good looks, right? You can do is generate the good looks and hope they go in. And the amount of threes that they got from the corners, it was the thing that everybody was pointing to. This shouldn't be surprising, but the fact that they went 10 of 16 from the corners is really huge. And they only went, I had the number in front of me earlier, but I think that was 2 of 6 or something like that in the first half, and then they just caught fire in the second half. So that's a big part of this too.
And the thing of this is if Oklahoma City adjusts to start taking those away at any point in the series, the Pacers have won because that is the Thunder altering their whole defensive thing.
Yep.
They're pretty comfortable just giving you that shot, even though it's considered a pretty analytically good shot within the NBA. But they're kind of okay with you, in your role guys in particular, taking those shots. If they start trying to take those away to some degree,
it opens up the rim. It opens up the backdoor cuts for Halliburton.
Yeah.
It opens up all that stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
So great call.
They'll be scrambling at that point, and the one play, the Thunder's whole defensive principle is we never want to, because we have the personnel and the scheme. We don't scramble. If you get them scrambling, you might not be able to roll that back if you're Oklahoma City.
It's going to be a big part of their formula. It'll be really interesting to see what the Thunder do. Do they look at the numbers and say, let's chill? We get game 2 at home. Let's do the same thing we did last time. We lost by 1. We were up by 15 in the fourth quarter. Stick with the same starting lineup with Case and Wallace over Hartenstein. Let's have the same exact game plan. Hope that we make a few more shots in the fourth quarter, and we probably run away with this game like we were running away for most of the game anyway. Or do you make some adjustments if you're Mark Dagnall, and do you say, we got to take these corners away? We can't give them that door of opportunity anymore. I think that's fascinating. I don't know which way you would go. I don't know what Dagnall does at this stage. We barely know Dagnall as a playoff coach.
Yeah.
So,
well, and we don't know these players in
especially
this context either.
especially down in a series.
Yeah. I mean, this is the first, like, yes, I think this is, it's not the same as the second round series that they really had to push through to get through that. This is like a different kind of punch, but this is like you got clipped on the jaw and you it's like a flash knockdown at a boxing match is what this feels like. It's like, how do you recover from the knockdown you're going to have to weather through some stuff now. You have adversity in front of you now. You have been clipped. What do you do with that?
Does this? I likened it to Game 1 in Madison Square Garden, which, I think when the Pacers came back, it totally took all the wind out of the Knicks sails, and the Knicks fan base it was a complete reverse course in vibes and everything.
It's also gonna. I think Game 3 is already gonna be like an incredible crowd. I think the dial on Game 3 now is already guaranteed to be like 30 percentage points.
I still think that I don't know. Maybe it's just because I think the Thunder are so good, and maybe vibes are like we're talking too much about them. But I do wonder what that home crowd is like in Game 2.
I mean, I don't think we're talking
After
about
this.
them too much or that too much, because I think it's one of the not big questions. That is a crazy home environment with a really bought in fan base. They have never quite experienced, like, this is different than like having Jokic take you to the brink. It just is. It's gonna feel different. It's the NBA Finals. It's this thing you didn't get with Durant, Harden, and Westbrook if you're a longtime fan.
And I think maybe the most tense you felt as the Thunder in the second round against the Nuggets was Game 7 at home, right?
And that
Game 7's a little different for a fan because you walk in and you say, "Hey, we got nothing to lose. Let's just cheer our brains out."
And that game
to support this
started
team.
one way, and then it got blown. It got blown wide open. Once it got
Great
blown
point.
wide open,
Yep.
it was celebratory the rest of the way, and then you cruise in the Western
And now,
Conference Finals.
okay, so yeah, exactly, right? And so let's say if you're the Thunder in Game 2, you come out with a 20-0 lead. If you're a Thunder fan, you can't feel good about that after what you just saw the Pacers do in this game, right?
I'm on beer 3, stressing out.
You're nervous. You're nervous until the buzzer, right?
Yeah.
If you're a Thunder fan, and so it'll be really interesting to see how that home crowd reacts and responds and pushes them. Because, and I don't even mean this as a pejorative, but like they have been front running the entire playoffs. The Thunder fan base, because that's essentially what they've been allowed to do.
Yeah.
So to be down in this way, even going back to like, I don't know how many Thunder fans are still like around from 2012, right? But you go back to the 2012 finals, they were up 1-0 on Miami. And it wasn't until that series went back to Miami that it really started to shift. And then by the time the Thunder saw their team again, that series was kind of over. That's not the case this time, right? They've never seen this. They've never been down 0-1 with pretty much everything riding in Game 2 the way that it is right now.
Yeah,
because if you can't go down 0-2.
And even if you're those fans, like, again, how many of them are still around like over a decade later, or like, how many, like, anyone who was connected to the team in any way then that is now watching this team now, if I'm putting myself in their shoes, I'm having a little, like, that none of this is guaranteed in the NBA. Like, that is the first time this player from that thought is creeping into my head, that I'm just like a little bit scared, because you had Durant, Harden, and Westbrook on a team and didn't win a championship. You have had the best team all year, and you just lost Game 1 at home in a shocking way. This isn't like this. I think if you're a Thunder fan coming into the series, I think this felt very fait accompli. Like, you're on the road to getting a championship and getting to celebrate the hell out of it.
Yeah.
That now it just doesn't feel quite like you cannot like visualize that quite as easily now.
Exactly what Knicks fans were talking. And look, I picked the Pacers in that Eastern Conference Finals.
Wes, I have Cavs fans in my life who are like begrudgingly, like, all my group texts right now, as I'm sure yours are, like blowing up about this game. All my Cavs fans are like, I fucking hate the Pacers, but I gotta respect them. Like, they were like mad about the 2020 draft and not taking Obi Toppin instead of Isaac Okoro. That's where we're at right now. That's what the Pacers are doing to people.
But that's how, like, the Knicks felt like the fait accompli. Hey, we beat Boston. The hard part is over. We're going to the NBA Finals, and the Pacers are just sitting there like, you still got to beat us.
Yeah.
And then they come back in Game 1 on the road, and they suck the life out of that fan base. And I'm wondering if the Thunder fan base responds the same way. I know you want to talk about adjustments, and I keep putting it off, but I have one more question for you.
Yeah, no, I think the adjustments to me almost are like the ethereal adjustments. They are more like there's little
I have
stuff.
some things, but wait, I got one more question for you.
Please.
So first, I don't know, the next 12 to 16 hours
Yeah.
is going to be, oh my God, the Pacers did it again. We were so wrong about the Pacers. Do the Pacers have a real, and like the big story, do the Pacers now have a chance to win the series, right? Like that's going to be the big thing. And of course, they always had a chance to win the series, but that'll be the question.
I mean,
that leads all the shows.
Historically large underdog. We should know. Like,
Yeah, 100%. Are you rethinking your prediction? Like that's going to be a big. At some point before game 2, though, there will be a blame pie topic
oh yeah,
bandied about. And it's obviously, I don't think it'll be Shea, but like, who's the guy in Oklahoma City where you're like, that guy's got to be better for game 2? Who do you think gets the brunt of that conversation?
I think it's go one of two ways. It is one of Chet or Jalen Williams. It's one of those two guys, or someone will make the Dagenhal case.
Yeah,
Someone
that he
will be
messed
like,
up with the starting lineup or something.
He messed up with the starting lineup. That Carlisle has
Yep.
more experience. That he's been there, done that. Like he's getting out coached. Like those are the two. Those are the two lanes we're heading towards. I think with this.
I agree. All right, give me your ethereal adjustments.
All right. So the thing the number one guy I'm looking for in game 2 is Chet. I think. Jalen Williams is I think the obvious one. I could see a world where he just he gets kind of spurned on by like a better defensive performance where they force. Like, the turnovers are pretty much the same, and he just gets some easier buckets and looks better. Chet, to me, like, I think almost needs to, like, play a more, like, functional role in this series just to kind of press Indiana, I think, in different ways. Like, 9 shots in 24 minutes for him just, like, isn't much. He had 1 block. It didn't really feel like he was contesting at the rim at all. And I think if I'm Dagenhal, one of the things that didn't like shift the game in the end, but would worry me based on how it started with the starting lineup change, and I almost wonder if they go back to Hartenstein, was that Siakam early on was like the best thing the Indiana could do was throw the ball to Siakam. He just went up over like Cason Wallace or someone small. Mm-hmm. I kind of wonder if you just say, hey, game 2, we cannot give them anything easy from the get-go and just give them anything to like build off of in the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
And Chet, you not only need to be good offensively, but I need you to like take on the Siakam thing and do some work on that. And like I think he becomes the guy that I'm watching to see what he's looking like and how he responds for game 2.
Yeah. You and I called this out in our preview, talking about switching could really start to flatten out their perimeter act. Indiana's, Oklahoma City switching could take out and start to flatten out Indiana's perimeter actions, but it could unlock a lot of stuff for Siakam by the basket where he ends up with a small on him. And we saw that right away because Dagenhal switched up the starting lineup. I would be very surprised if we saw Dagenhal go back to Hartenstein in game 2.
Would you?
No.
Okay,
I already made the decision.
I just think I would. I am a little more, but I think that speaks to that I'm a little more spooked by, like I think of the Pacers.
That's the thing. You can't, if you're Dagenhal, you can't act spooked. You can't be like, oh my God, I made a huge mistake. Your team starts to lose confidence in you. I think you have to stick with it.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I'm also just thinking of my number one objective for the first quarter of game 1 is Indiana cannot build on this in any way. You have to like shut off their water immediately. Siakam's the guy that I think I'm watching for that sense. Does he just get rolling against smaller guys again to start game 1 or start game 2, and then he's got 10 points in the first quarter, and you're like, shit, they're here.
Siakam's still a -10 in this game. He didn't get going until a little bit later. Like I wouldn't have made the starting lineup change in the first place, so I understand how this sounds because I'm like, I wouldn't have made the change, but now that I made it, I'm not going to go back. I don't think you can do that unless you go down 0-2.
If they go down 0-2, we're heading towards something
or maybe
crazy.
If you're losing the first half, maybe you make the adjustment to start the second half. Maybe that's a better way to put it. But you can't get spooked like that. You can't do that to your team. I think that sends a really bad message and just bad energy. But maybe you come out of it a little bit earlier. Maybe you say, all right, we'll start with it for the first 5 minutes, and then we're going to go back to our double big, and you kind of start to ease your way back in. I don't know, but you make that change for a reason if you're Dagenhal.
Mm-hmm.
I think you wanted Jalen Williams on Siakam defensively.
Yeah. Easier to do with the smaller guy in there instead of another big.
Right. And then because you don't really have a place to hide Hartenstein or Chet. And that was the big thing is like, do they put Hartenstein on Siakam? Do they put Chet on Siakam? Who guards Turner? Whatever. So those are some parts. They can't let Miles Turner do what he did in this game again. He was awesome. Not just with the 2 3-pointers, but he made a pump fake step back 3-pointer in the corner in the fourth quarter.
What
the hell was that?
I don't think, and I'm saying not just you and I, but like the collective we has talked about how I think important he's been during these playoffs for them.
He's been awesome.
He's been
awesome.
incredible.
And he's
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I keep
no. Good. This is banter back and forth. This is what a podcast is. He has been like as steady and like just filling in gaps and doing everything you kind of like every little thing he is good at. He has had to do at some point, and it's been amazing to watch because he's a guy that you would have just thought like might if you had told me 3 years ago or 4 years ago that he was on the Indiana Pacers in 2025, I would have called bullshit, and yet he's here.
Yeah, and he's kind of a heartbeat of the team too. Like every time he makes a shot, everybody seems happy about it, which is a nice morale boost. Like people are just happy to have him out there. In terms of adjustments, though, you can't let him get off that way. You got to figure out a way. Maybe not. I know the idea of going small is that you want to be able to switch everything, but do you have to switch it so easily?
It did feel like they were just giving up those switches, whereas like
on the bigs, specifically on the bigs, like on the perimeter, switch all of it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But when we're involving Turner,
yeah,
and Siakam in those pick and roll actions, they were just so quick to switch it. And Indiana did a great job, especially in the second half, of having an action offensively and then getting the switch that they wanted off the ball. And they did that with Miles Turner quite a bit and Halliburton. So you have Nembhard on the ball a lot, and then you have Halliburton and Turner or Halliburton and Siakam kind of doing something over here, and they're getting this switch. The Thunder are even switching off the ball. So if you're the Thunder, do you keep switching off the ball, or do you stick to your assignment and then go back to it? I don't know. Dagnall has thrown so many different defensive looks at teams throughout the season. It wouldn't shock me if we saw something dramatically different in terms of their rules when it comes to switching, but it feels like they have to change that up because only because the Pacers figured it out. And I don't know what the right answer is, but I know that you can't keep throwing that look at the Pacers.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think Indiana, I also wonder how much they're cutting. Like, I think, have even more of an incentive just to trim the rotation. Like, I'm probably not playing Ben Shepherd in the next game.
Yep, no Shepherd. Bryant's probably limited to first half minutes, and that's it.
Yeah, and I think among, like, the top-in Mathurin group, it's whatever guy is shooting well that game, you get them more minutes.
I know Mathurin had that huge block. He was good, I thought, in this game overall. I know he only went 1 for 5, but he's going to make more shots.
He got to the line 4 times. He was aggressive. Like this is really the thing of the Indiana Pacers. Like they're super resilient, all of this stuff. Every single guy that they give minutes to finds a way to contribute something positive. There's not a single guy who sees the court for them that I can't think of. Like Thomas Bryant is someone I'm not playing in game 2. He had a 3 in this game. In a 1-point game in the NBA Finals, that one random 3 Thomas Bryant hit matters a ton. It does.
Yep, it does.
The other thing I'm doing if I'm Indiana, and I say this like half seriously, but like also like seriously, whatever you need to do to put Pat McAfee with Tyrese Halliburton's dad for game 2 to like create chaos. Like they need to. Like I'm serious. Like they have to. This team's whole thing is just being insane. And like
that'll be in Indiana, right? You're trying to fly McAfee out.
I think he lives there. I'm trying to have him. So I think he's working a WWE event in LA. You got to put him on a private flight right after the event in LA and get him to Oklahoma City for Sunday.
Okay. I have a real adjustment.
Okay. I think their whole thing is just like I need anything I can do to kind of emphasize like the energy of this team, and it's like that's their Chalamet. You know what I mean? It's like I just want like the addition. It was very funny in this game, Wes, and you asked me this question: who is the celebrity that they're going to pan to? When they did the celebrity cam in this game, it was Adam Silver. It was extremely funny that it was like
this is
Adam
the major
Silver.
adjustment. Oklahoma. It was Adam Silver and it was John Halliburton the entire game, and Oklahoma. There was no like the Thunder fans are awesome.
They're incredible.
There's no famous one that the camera knows, okay, we got to show this person right now. And I don't know if that matters, but it doesn't not.
It's just like an amusement point, and I'm losing
is.
my mind. I've lost my mind. After, I
Other
still
Oklahoma
cannot
City
believe
point.
Tyrese HALIBURTON hit that shot. That's what
Other Oklahoma City real adjustment.
Okay, please.
Who needs to take more threes? Because Dort leading the team in 3-point attempts, I guess, is okay at 9. But the fact that Shea is second at 6, and you're getting four 3-point attempts from Jalen Williams. You're getting 1 from Chet Holmgren, who is supposed to be your floor spacer, ostensibly at that 5 spot. You only got Caruso went 1 for 4. Isaiah Joe takes 1, and I want to linger on Isaiah Joe here for a second because he plays only 11 minutes in this game. And I thought the Pacers did a really good job of when Isaiah Joe was in the game, attacking him relentlessly.
Yeah.
It was mean. It was mean. It was mean. It was kid gets off the school bus, takes 1 step in the schoolyard, bully is beating him up right away and taking his lunch money. It was mean, and it was planned, and I thought it was genius by Carlisle and the Pacers staff because they know, hey, the 3-point advantage, just volume, just getting them up is a huge, we have to win this every single night. We have to win that every single night to stay in this series. And the one guy who can match our guys volume-wise is Isaiah Joe. We got to make sure he's unplayable. And they proved the point to the point where Isaiah Joe played, again, only 11 minutes in this game. I don't know that Isaiah Joe has a spot in this series if they're going to attack him that relentlessly. Major shout-out to TJ McConnell, who just kept taking him off the dribble and pick and roll. So
yeah. McConnell was, again, another guy who just additive. He finds a way to be additive every minute.
9 points, 4 assists. Did have 3 turnovers. I think those were maybe most of those were early.
Did you could tell me like some of these guys had like bad, and it doesn't feel like they had bad games to some degree. The Dort point,
McConnell was great.
The Dort point, I will say, the thing with him at 9 threes is, I think if you're Oklahoma City, you're like, okay, he shot well, fine. He shot 5.2 per game in the conference finals. It's like a 7-game a guy in the regular season.
9's a lot.
9 is a lot. And I think if I'm answering that question, if I'm them, is like, who do I want taking my threes? I think the Indiana Pacers, to your point about like hunting down Joe because he's like their 3-point kind of wild card on this team, you are very comfortable with Lou Dort taking 9 threes.
Yeah.
Like,
and they weren't even sagging off Dort the way, like they weren't Tony Allening him.
No.
So obviously they were more old school. Like it was sort of that old Tom Thibodeau strong side help thing where, hey, if Dort's over here and the action's on the other side, we're going to help way off of them and bring all the help towards the strong side. And we might just kind of leave them open a little bit. Now, again, I'll have to watch the film on this to make sure that what I'm saying is true. But in the moment, it did feel like they weren't sagging off of them to just put a big in the paint or do that thing. But they were just like not exactly rushing out to meet him either. Every time he got the shot.
And this is the thing where there's like a fear component, I think, with shooters sometimes. Where like this is a 40% guy in the regular season. I don't think teams treat him like he's a 40% shooter. Mm-hmm. He also was, as far as in the playoffs so far this year, pretty bad the first 2 rounds from 3.
Yeah.
26% around 1, 28% around 2, 37% in the last round. But that was again on lower volume.
And you got the Dort game if you're the Thunder in game 1. The chances of him going 5 for 9 or shooting anything close to 45, 50% in game 2 are pretty low given Dort's history.
So is the answer Chet then? I think Chet I think
it's Chet. I think it's Jalen Williams.
Which I think with the Jalen Williams thing, I think if you're the Pacers, like you're probably okay with that. Like
that's the thing about the Thunder. They tend to make a pretty high percentage of threes above league average, right? They're not, the Cavs or the Celtics or anything like that, but they don't have any 3-point shooters who really scare you. And people, like Thunder fans, we have Isaiah Joe. I'm not that scared of Isaiah Joe. If Isaiah Joe beats us, like, so be it. Like, I'm not that scared of any of these shooters, and the Pacers are really using that to their advantage. I think the other thing that you probably want to do, like, Shea is a capable 3-point shooter, especially. He had a huge pull-up 3 in this game, and he was 3 of 6 overall, so he was fine. But are there ways to get him off the ball a little bit more if I'm the Thunder and try to flip that Pacer strategy of, hey, let's let Shea get his, but don't let anybody else beat us? If somebody else is on the ball a little bit more, if you can get J-Dub on the ball a little bit more attacking Indiana's drop defense. I think that was a lot of fruit that was left on the tree for Oklahoma City. There's things here, but again, these are very just sort of broad strokes adjustments. We haven't even we're literally just coming off the game. So,
but I think that with them, it's sort of the point of is like I think it's like it goes back to what we've talked about. It's like how much you make something more like a more stark adjustment, and how much are you just like trusting the process and not getting too ahead of yourself just off of one game that you probably should.
I think you were right to call out Chet. It just felt like he wasn't really involved in the offense at all. And if you can get him more involved as a spacer, as a pick and pop guy, the way that they got, the way the Pacers involved Miles Turner,
Yeah.
right? I think that's probably that's probably a button that you can push if you're the Thunder.
He to me is the ultimate ceiling raiser on that team on both ends of the floor. If like
Just
Chet
6 points
is
tonight.
humming and he is involved, I think that is a guy that absolutely changes the dynamic of the series, changes the ceiling of this team. Like Shea gives them this massively high floor, and everything else about them gives this massively high floor that makes them already elite. Chet and J-Dub, I think to a lesser extent, but to me, it's Chet can take them up to this other level. But it's hard. I think it's also hard if you're not getting him involved. Like, it's hard to like throw a bunch at him right now if you're gonna say we need to get you more involved in four. It's hard to do that in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, I think that's
for a
why
young player.
you think about like the pick and pop stuff. It's just hey, here's the pass, take the shot.
Yeah, because he's like a
Don't
year
overthink
behind
it.
like the Mobley thing, where like the Cavs over time started feeding Mobley more and more.
Right.
Bam in Miami got fed more and more. It's like with bigs now, it's like a gradual build up to getting this bigger role. It's almost like a next year thing for him to kind of, I think, maybe have the exact role I'm thinking of and that they maybe need.
Right.
To kind of,
right now that's Jalen Williams. Jalen Williams has been here. He was really good in the Western Conference Finals. He needs to be more involved in the offense, and then you just gotta get Chet more shots. You gotta spoon feed him a little bit more than they did.
Let's see what the line is at for game 2. Let's see how let's see where we're at. This was a 9.5 point line in Oklahoma City's favor.
In game 1.
And for game 1, obviously we like huge favorites in the series. Let's check our friend at BetMGM, see how this has shifted. Multifaceted authentication. What are they? Come on. Here we go. All right. Clicking in. NBA. So game 2 on Sunday is an 11.5 point spread for Oklahoma City. It's where we ended up.
I just good luck with spreads against the Pacers. What are the Pacers against the spread? Like 15-0 or something in the playoffs?
Probably something preposterous.
Yeah.
The finals odds have shifted already. Obviously, and this kind of makes some sense. But the Pacers are still the Thunder are still minus 300.
Wow.
Pacers are plus 240.
That's a big change.
But
though.
that is
they
a
were minus 700 before.
That is like a massive one game change. And the Pacers they're live dogs. They got the road win. Their confidence, even if they had lost this game, Wes, their confidence is still going to be up here.
This is a different series than I think everybody anticipated. Now
did we get too logical in previewing this series? Is like really my. This is really when I'm like, did we get like too basketball nerdy modern media coverage about it and like overthink it a little bit?
I go back to my original point. Maybe we were not logical enough, and we have all these things that we love, advanced stats that we love about the Thunder, and we just forgot, the Pacers are the best team at putting the ball in the basket.
Yeah. And just have like a bunch of really resilient dudes. Like they
I don't know. They were up by 15 in the fourth quarter. I don't know that anything we said was wrong.
No, but but there's one team in the league, I think, honestly. I don't think there was another team in the NBA this year that looks at being 15 down in a big game and gives a shit less about that and believes more that they're going to win it than the Pacers, which is like arguably like we cannot quantify that. That is like one of the 3 most important things I think you can have as a team is that insane self-belief. And they have it more than anybody else that I can think of this year.
This is one of the most shocking results of game 1 in the finals that I could remember. The only thing I'm trying to think of what even comes close, but like if not for J.R. Smith,
Wow.
I can't recall a more shocking result in game 1 of a finals.
Recent NBA finals. I'm trying to think.
Like if you just think about like big underdogs who won, like you think about the 2011 Mavericks, the Heat won game 1.
Everything else in recent memory that I'm thinking of has been late.
Who did the Pistons win game 1 against the Lakers? Didn't they sweep them?
That'd be 2002. Yeah, Pistons. That was a 5-1 series. Yeah, so I think
And they won game one?
I think they won game one. The
Yeah, that was 2004,
yeah,
right? Pistons won game
Pistons
one.
won Pistons won game one, 87-75.
75. Yep.
Yeah, and then
That was-
one game two.
So it's been 21 years.
Yeah, I mean it's really I think since the 18, LeBron is doing this, and then JR and that is shocking in a completely different way than what we just witnessed. That was like a negative shock. That then
Yeah, it was shocking
resulted
in that
in deflation of a
Yep.
whole team, and this is like shocking to where I'm very sure it's only going to buoy the Pacers, and I don't think we know exactly how Oklahoma City is going to respond.
Yeah, that J.R. Smith doing what he did. It would have been like Obi Toppin just running into Tyrese Halliburton before he pulled up for that 2-pointer.
Oh boy,
Sorry.
no. The Obi Toppin thing is just that's almost the most remarkable thing about this.
He's the avatar for the Pacers. He's like so bad to start this game, and then awesome for the rest of the game. I mean, he flipped just like the entire Pacers team flipped.
Anything we missed, Wes?
I'm sure we did, but
Here's
I'm too tired and groggy and confused to even think about it.
I cannot wait for game two.
I'm psyched. Sunday night, man. Pretty long layoff here. Big breaks between these games in this series, but I think both teams can use it. I think they both need a little bit of a come down. So I'm sure they'll be partying hard in Oklahoma City and
Haunted Hotel. Did you ever
$5 cheeseburger.
Did you go to Oklahoma City when you were on the Warriors beat?
I did.
What was your
the first time I was in Oklahoma City? I went twice within a week because it was a weird schedule quirk. And I had to actually fly back for other games and then fly back to Oklahoma City. What was your question?
What was your go-to thing to do?
I don't remember. There was a bar.
I
I don't remember the name of it.
I should have been what bar did you go to?
Right. No, I know what you meant.
Is that where John Halliburton will be hanging out the next couple of days?
It was a large pool hall type bar. And it was, and I'm going to try to paint you a picture of how big it was. I mean, it felt like it was one of those big sprawling
pool
breweries
hall with the 90s style, kind of kitschy, overhead lamp style pool hall kind of thing.
I don't remember if there were overhead lamps, but I love those.
Yeah.
No, but the bar wasn't just a U shape. It was two U shapes. So it was like a big U and then a long row and then another U jut out. And so it was probably you could probably fit 100 people at that bar. It was a big space. So I don't know if anybody listening to this is in Oklahoma City, but knows that bar. But it was that bar where I think I told you the story where I went and I ordered a light beer and a cheeseburger with French fries, and the check came.
Yes.
And it was $5.50 or something crazy, pre-tariffs. But it was. I asked the bar. I'm like, "Is this right?" But I was coming from San Francisco at the time, so I was
that would have cost you $30 in San Francisco.
There was a place in San Francisco that was on my block. Awesome cheeseburgers, but a burger was $20. God forbid you got a drink in onion rings or something.
Illegal tariffs. Go get a big steak, Indiana Pacers. You have earned a couple days off to do whatever it is I think you want to do. Cannot wait for game two. We'll be back early next week reacting to everything going on in these NBA finals. Indiana Pacers, they did it. They are up 1-0 and led for 0.1 seconds of an entire
Don't beat the
basketball
Pacers.
game.
They just run out of time.
They led for literally 0.1 seconds of a basketball game.
0.3 seconds.
Regardless, less than a second.
Correct.
Less than a second. It is preposterous. Twice a week, Just Basketball Show. Shout out BetMGM. Back next week. Enjoy the hoops. How could you not? We'll talk to you soon.